David, that was beautiful. How many of you know where that song came from? What movie? Mahogany, right? Diana Ross. Searching for her dream, searching for who she was and what she was here to be. The Power of Belief, Part 2. Last week, I talked about the power of belief. And I talked about asking yourself the question, not what does Unity believe, but what do you believe? So this week, I'm going to carry that a little step further. But before I do, I want to warm you up a little bit, as I like to do. One day, a gorilla escaped from the zoo, prompting a huge search throughout the community. There were appeals on the radio and television and the newspapers. He was finally discovered a few days later in the city, in the library, where zoo officials found him sitting at a desk with two large books spread out before him. One was the Bible, the other was Darwin's Origin of Species. And this was a very smart gorilla. You know, some apes are taught sign language, but this one could actually speak in words that the people understood. And so the crew who found him, the two officers, said, what are you doing in here? What is this about? He says, well, I'm trying to figure out who I am. And he said, what do you mean, who you are? You're a gorilla. He said, no. According to these books, I'm either my brother's keeper or my keeper's brother. Now, truth is stranger than fiction. If you saw the news last Monday, a baboon got loose at the San Antonio International Airport. True story. Now, maybe he was trying to figure out who he was because he was flying American Airlines in a crate. Somehow he got out of his crate when the plane landed. And he was over in baggage claim at United. Now, I don't know about you, but I've had my baggage lost many times. Well, he was on his way home to the to the Born-Free Primate Sanctuary in LaSalle County, Texas. A viewer captured this entire fiasco that it lasted about an hour on a video. And the airport crews were able to isolate the ape in a little small room, finally. Most operations at San Antonio International Airport went on as usual, but there was a broadcast announcement that some flights may be delayed due to the wildlife issue. Now, maybe that baboon had found a way to figure out whether he was his brother or his brother's keeper. He may have been on a search also, much like the joke that I told. So last week, the power of belief, how our beliefs control us until we realize that we can change our lives by changing our beliefs, one thought at a time. When I think about that, last week's hymn was Many Gifts, One Spirit that the choir sang, and that's one of my favorite songs. Many gifts, one spirit, many songs, one voice, many reasons, one promise, many questions, one choice. Oh God, remind us we are not alone. In our differences unite us. We are moving to your love. We are all one family. Many people, in asking what does Unity believe in the present day context of all the religious dogma that we hear about, and justifications for indignation and injustice towards people based on religion, many people ask that question, and some of us asked the question, and we decided to start a small group to talk about it, to get these things out in the open, some of our long-held beliefs that no longer serve us. We call it Courageous Conversations. And one of the people who helped us get that started hasn't been here for a while, but she's here today. So I want to honor Erin Keller. Now, I can't honor Erin without honoring her mom and dad, Nikki and Dwight. Nikki, stand up. Thank you for being here today. I know it's been a journey, and we've all been praying wholeness for you and seeing you in the light and love of perfect health, knowing that you are divinely made And there's nothing that you can't overcome. So we love you and we bless you and we see the Christ in you. Thank you for being here. Not only is she a songbird and sings like an angel, but she's also a catalyst for change. And she's helping us to create that change in our congregation. Courageous Conversation is based on the question, who am I? Who am I? When things happen in our society that we don't like, who am I? What is my purpose? What am I here to do? Where am I going? Someone has said, faith is universal. Our specific methods of understanding it are arbitrary. What we do in Courageous Conversations is look for a common purpose that we can identify with no matter what our differences are. And we do that by talking. You're all welcome to join us. We meet the second and fourth Sundays, usually in the manse. We're talking about uniting the world through belief. We're all one family. We might look different. We might come from different backgrounds. We might even have different belief systems. We usually do. But we're all one family. When I was a kid growing up in the school, in Sunday school and at church, we didn't have a separate Sunday school for kids, so we would join in with the adults during the Sunday service. And we would always sing this song, "Blessed be the ties that bind our hearts in Christian love, the fellowship of kindred minds is like to that above." The ties that bind are our beliefs. When we share our truths with each other, what we believe, we find we are more alike than different, are we not? So once we overcome this belief in separation, we can overcome any issues in our society. So today, we're going to talk a little bit about that. When I think about that, I think about what Bob Marley sang, one love, let's get together and feel all right. Wouldn't that feel good? If we knew that we could all be together feeling good because we have one love. That's our whole purpose. Who am I? Love. What am I called to be? Love. That's it. The ego wants to belong to its own kind, though. Have you ever noticed that? You feel more comfortable with certain people, maybe people you grew up with, people you like to hang out with. And then when you're in an environment where people are more different than you are, maybe there's not as much sameness, you start to feel a little uncomfortable. That's your ego, because your real self, your true self, sees no difference. You look beyond this outer appearance and you see only the love, because it's coming from your own beliefs, your own interests, your own likes. It's within you. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and so is love. When we open our awareness, we see how much alike we are. St. Augustine said, faith is to believe what you do not see. The reward of this faith is to see what you believe. I think we could turn things around if we each started focusing on seeing what we believe instead of what we do not see. So it's the goal of Courageous Conversations. So let me get into part 2 of the power of belief. What are you and what do you want? What are you? Who are you? And what do you want? Consider how you can change your long-held beliefs about yourself by just understanding, first of all, who you are. What do you believe? And what do you want? So I'm going to talk about the pearl of great price. Now, the members of the choir have a pearl. Some of them know what this is about. I wasn't able to get them to you early enough, so there's a container of pearls when you leave right outside on the ledge. Pick up a pearl when you leave. Hopefully there will be enough for everyone. The pearl of great price can be found in the book of Matthew, the 13th chapter, the 44th verse. It reads, "And again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant on the hunt for valuable pearls. And when he finds one of the greatest values of pearls, he disposes of all the rest and buys that one." So what is this pearl of great price? It's the wisdom within you. When Jesus was asked, where is this kingdom of God? He said, the kingdom of God is not over there or over there, it is within. That is the pearl of great price. You already have it. You don't need anybody to show it to you. You don't need me to stand up here and proselytize about it. You don't need anybody to preach to you about it. All you need to do is, as Myrtle Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, go within. You'll find the pearl of great price, the answer to all of your questions. Who am I? Where am I going? What do I want? There's a Hindu legend by the chief god Brahma about taking divinity away and hiding it where man can't find it. So he asked his council of gods, the little gods, to help him figure out where to hide this divinity, this pearl of great price. So the gods get together and they decide, maybe you could hide it deep down in the earth. Surely no one would find it there. And he says, no, man is too smart for that. They'll dig and dig and dig until they find it. Well, maybe we could sink it into the deepest ocean. No one would ever dive that far. Nope. We've got people who really know how to get down into the deepest waters. If they're on a hunt for something, they're going to find it in those waters. Well, maybe we could hide it on the top of the highest mountain. Nobody can climb that high. Brahma says no. Man will always climb the highest mountain for whatever reason, sometimes just to be climbing. Well, we just don't know where to hide it. There's no place on earth or in the sea that anyone would not go to find this divinity. And then Brahma said, I know. I'll hide it deep within him. He will never think to look for it there. So we come to church seeking this pearl of great price, don't we? We come hoping that Duke or I or Nian or someone, Warren, will say something really profound. The choir will sing something and we will leave here just so uplifted. We found the pearl of great price, when all the while the pearl of great price was in you. When we close our prayer at the end of the service, wherever you are, God is and all is well, we're saying to you, you have within you everything that you're seeking. In the story of The Adventures of Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, you might remember the Cheshire Cat sitting up in a tree, and Alice walks by and she says, would you please tell me which way I ought to go from here? And the cat says, well, that depends a good deal on where you want to get to. And she says, I don't much care where. And the cat says, then it doesn't much matter which way you go. She said, well, so long as I get somewhere. He said, oh, sure enough. You're sure to do that? If only you walk long enough. Many of our children and grandchildren and neighbors are graduating from high school and college. And they've been walking this journey for a while. 12, 13 years they've been walking the journey. 4 years or 6 years or 8 years in college, walking the journey, trying to figure out, who am I? What do I want? I don't know about you, but it took me years to figure that out. And I'm still not quite sure what I want. Am I by myself? Right. We have one who just completed her degree, her master's in the conservatory. And Haley's going to be leaving us pretty soon. And she has one of the most beautiful alto voices you ever want to hear. I invite you to come sit in my spot sometime. Well, you'd have to do it today because this is her last Sunday. So let's give Haley a round of applause. Stand up. Come back, please, come back. We love you and we're going to miss you. But we know you'll be doing great things at your home church. She's in Springfield, Missouri. So if you're ever down in Springfield, Campbell United Methodist Church, not mine, but Campbell United Methodist Church, and she'll be there. And I'm sure you'll be singing. All right. Thank you for that. I want to talk about how do we get from part one, the power of belief, knowing what our old beliefs are, how do we get to understand how to apply those beliefs to understanding better who we are and what we want? So I'm going to talk about the objective mind a little bit. I told you last week that I graduated from college with a vision. I had a picture of myself that I drew. No money, didn't know where it was coming from. And everything I pictured looked exactly the way I looked when I graduated, with honors from KCK Community College. Now, I'm not telling you that to brag. I'm telling you that I'm no different than you. I have the same pearl of great price in me that you have in you. It's about setting your intentions, believing that you can achieve it. Eric Butterworth said, if you can conceive it and believe it, you will achieve it. So think of that as the alphabet backwards, CBA instead of ABCs. Your ABC backwards. Achieve it, conceive it, believe it, and you will achieve it. And that's what I did. I read Reverend Butterworth's book, Discover the Power Within You. And I also read this little book I want to share with you called It Works by R.H.J. Is anybody familiar with this book? Yeah, powerful little book, isn't it? R.H.J. as the author does not want to be identified. We don't know if it's a male or female, what the initials stand for. But it's a very simple process that I want to encourage you. It worked for me in 3 degrees. I did that 3 times. So it worked for me. And other things, even entering the ministry on a dream, on a vision, having a plan. Jeremiah says, I know the plans that I have for you, plans to prosper you. Plans to prosper you, and that's true. So It Works has 3 positive rules of accomplishment. I studied this little book. I mean, I practically slept with it. The first step is to get clear in your mind what it is that you really want. And use a free flow of information. Just start writing down everything you can think of that you've ever wanted. Don't analyze it. Just what is it that you want? Because by the process of elimination and where you are today in your belief system, you'll narrow that list down. What is it that you're clear about, that you really want? And be as specific as you can be. Because you're training your objective mind, the one you use every day, to decide definitely on the things or conditions that you desire. That's the first step. It's not wishing. My mother always says, Papa says, if wishes were haystacks, cows would be fat. You know, she's from Arkansas, so you got to understand. If wishes were haystack, all cows would be fat. So here's the formula that RHJ recommends to discover who you are and what you want. First, as I said, write down on paper, in order of importance, all the things or conditions you really, really want in your life. Be specific. Change the list daily because your mind changes daily. Be prepared for obstacles because I'm telling you, when you start moving in the direction of your dreams, all kinds of things come up to challenge you. So be prepared for that. Read that list 3 times a day, morning, noon, and night. And I did. I did for years. Now the second thing is, think of what you want as often as possible. Think about it as often as possible. And the third and most important thing, don't tell anybody. Don't discuss your dream, what you've put on paper, what you want. Don't discuss that with anyone because other people will try to help you, and in trying to help you, they won't help you. You know, that's not really a good idea. I don't think that's the right dream for you. I think you should think about something else. That's not realistic. Have you heard that before? And sometimes there's truth to that, but you'll know for yourself whether it's for you or not. Don't second guess. Don't try to figure out the outcome. Don't get attached to the outcome. Be like the Buddhist vacuum cleaner. There are no attachments. Believe in yourself and believe in the power of your own dreams. Someone has said, you will see in the world what you carry in your heart. Trust that your soul has a plan. Even if you can't see it right now, know that everything will unfold as it is meant to. Dip into your soul, where the pearl of great price resides. Find your own truth. What calls to your heart? What moves your spirit? What would you do whether you got paid for it or not? What's your passion? What drives you? What is that thing you do? I worked for 42 years to pay the bills so I could afford eventually to do what I wanted to do. So it's okay if you're in a job that pays the bills, but your dream, your passion is someplace else. Pay the bills and work towards your passion at the same time. Now I'm here doing part of that passion. I used to sit where you sit, and I would scribble all over my bulletin, every single word, and then I would go home and I'd study it, and I'd go, boy, have I got a story to tell. Someday I'm going to be able to help people like this is helping me. And I hope I'm doing that. I really do. Goethe said, man is made by his belief. As he believes, so is he. And it is the Father's good pleasure, according to Scripture, to give you the kingdom. It says so in the book of Luke, 12th chapter. Fear not, little flock. It is the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. So who are you? I'm not talking about that. I love that song, though. Who are you? Ooh, 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 ooh. Now, you all know I like movies and TV, right? So every time I hear that, I don't watch CSI. I've never been one for those mystery kind of shows, but I love that theme song because every time I hear it, I think, you know, that's my song. Who are you? Who am I? And am I really living up to my truth? So what steps do you take today, right now, to release those old beliefs, those old limitations, those old thoughts of I can't, if not, what if, that are holding you back from your real passion? What can you let go of today? Myrtle Fillmore did that for 2 years. For 2 years, she worked on releasing all those old tapes that were playing in her head about her sickness and her disease and her terminal tuberculosis diagnosis. And for 2 years, it didn't happen overnight, but she practiced going into the silence, listening to that pearl within her, that wisdom from within. And eventually, she no longer had tuberculosis and lived another 40 years, and she and Charles, based on that, founded Unity. She's no different than you and I. We all have the same ability. As I put on the front of the bulletin, and I invite you to read along with me, reality is what we take to be true. What we take to be true is what we believe. What we believe is based on our perceptions. What we perceive depends upon what we look for. What we look for depends upon what we think. What we think depends upon what we perceive. What we perceive determines what we believe. What we believe determines what we take to be true. What we take to be true is our reality. Gary Zukav. So I invite you, as we begin to move into meditation, to contact that pearl of great price, our true source, where we find the answers to our questions, who am I? What do I want? To take that idea and really let it resonate with you. Marinate on it through the week, and the Spirit of God will answer. Who are you? Who are you? What do you believe? That's the power of belief.